Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast with your hosts, Sonja Babich, CEO of Iron Diamond Media, a leading wedding resource featuring 7 localized wedding brands across the country, and Dan Riggs, photography and videography expert and founder of Summit Hill Studios. Come along as they travel from state to state to connect with the most creative and well-respected professionals in the wedding industry. Every episode will arm you with the hottest new trends, wedding day tips and details, and they'll show you all the joys of planning your perfect wedding day.
Hi everybody, Sonja Babich here with Wedding Day Podcast. My co-host today is Miss Chelsea Gibson. She is our amazing editor for Oregon and Arizona Bride, Oregon Wedding Day and Arizona Bride. But we are here at the fabulous Ocotillo Golf Club, and we're actually sitting with their sales manager, Mary Hotaling.
Hi, ladies. Welcome.
Welcome. And that's like the perfect last name for hospitality.
I know it is, right? You planned it, yes.
Yes, you did plan that. So you have been a part of this journey in the wedding industry, I guess, hospitality industry for 20 years, the Bay Area, you said Napa Valley area, the Sonoma area, and then you came to Arizona.
I love that transition from wine country to desert. Mm-hmm. It's different.
It is different.
Little beauty in each space. Really.
Exactly.
But you just gave tequila here.
Yes, true.
So why Arizona? What made you come to Arizona?
So we've been traveling here for a number of years, and we had always thought, one day we'll move there. And then the pandemic hit, and things changed in everyone's life. I think opened up a little bit, and it was time, like, that kind of perfect moment came, like, let's make that transition. And so we came here, and we live in the Maricopa County, which is where Ocotillo is at, and we absolutely love it in this area.
So why Ocotillo? Why did you pick Ocotillo?
Yes, how'd you end up here?
So
We're curious.
I actually joined the Arcus team about 3 years ago. Yes, so Arcus owns Ocotillo Golf Club and many other clubs here in the Arizona area.
And nationwide.
Yep. And so so I was in talks with our regional vice president and joined the team because this was being managed by another third-party company, and we had bought the property, so they needed to bring somebody in with my experience to be able to kind of build that sales department and wedding division kind of from the ground up. And so I joined the team 3 years ago, and then we launched just over 2 years ago here doing weddings. So it has been an incredible opportunity and wild ride, but more importantly, for me, being able to get to know vendors. When I left California, I had this incredible team of vendors that I could call in an instant. And so I started hosting events and having people come in, and then all of a sudden this community just grew and grew. So I have to say the Arizona,
this community is incredible. When we started here, was it 3 years ago?
No, less than that.
Is it less?
It's only been 2.
Oh my gosh, okay, 2 years ago. I mean, we were doing the same thing, and everybody is so welcoming and lovely.
Absolutely.
And incredibly talented. So it's been a real joy.
It's been the best welcome here in Arizona. I say Minnesota nice, there is an Arizona nice.
There is.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
I would agree. And, they just kind of really embraced Ocotillo becoming an independent venue and really kind of opened their arms and surrounded us and came in like, how can we help you? We want to help build this incredible venue with you. And so, like I said, it's been an incredible journey.
But what's really cool about Ocotillo is all the water.
Yes, we are a 27-hole course. 24 of them have water. So when I have a bride saying, I want something different in Arizona, I don't really want that desert scape, I'm like, Ocotillo's for you. Yes. And it's just with all the beautiful palm trees and the water. And
it's so
greenery.
photogenic.
It really is.
It really
stunning.
is.
Which we did have a style shoot here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Wait. No, not yet. That's going to be coming up. We're going to be talking about that.
I'm so excited.
Yes, I know, because we would love to showcase the space. And one thing we were chatting about before this is just there's a versatility in the spaces.
Yes.
There's a couple different to choose from. You can have good flow. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what Ocotillo offers?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that makes us very unique as a venue is when you go into different golf courses or even country clubs, sometimes you can feel like this space is an afterthought, like this really wasn't designed to do events.
A lot of venues are like that.
Our space was. We were designed to be an event venue. It's very private. We have 2 ceremony sites, which is absolutely incredible. One is by the water, so if you want that really beautiful backdrop of the water and the greenery, that's stunning. And then we have an upper lawn called the Grove, where you can also host your ceremony. But we have couples that have larger guest counts. We see a lot of larger guest counts here. So they will host their wedding down by the lake, and then it's this beautiful transition that they come up to the upper lawn for cocktail hour, and then we invite guests in for that big transition into reception.
I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I love movement in a wedding reception because it gets your guests to have another.
You have moments for them, right?
What's this?
I can't tell you how many weddings I've been to where it feels stagnant, and
you want to be in a box,
and you're sort of like, what's going on? Like, are we like moving? Are we going somewhere? Like,
Exactly.
So it's nice to sort of keep the flow going, have variety in spaces for interest, and sort of, that hospitality is surprising and delighting your.
And that would be a challenge
guests.
to look at that when you're touring a venue, just to look and think of movement. Because if you are like, I'm going to walk into a reception, that's my cocktail hour is by my reception tables. Like, you have to understand, like, that's where you're only at. It's good to ask that question. Like, is there other spaces to allow that movement? Again, depending what venue, what state you're in.
Exactly.
Arizona's great to have that outdoor option for movement.
Well, and the other piece of that is when I am touring couples, I'll talk to them about creating moments for their guests. And that is such a big piece of hosting people on your wedding day, right? It's their day. But the biggest thing I see from couples is we want to have this really great celebration for our nearest and dearest in our family. So when I walk them through and I talk to them about those moments that they can create, you can see their face light up, and you can see them and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know we could do that. We didn't know that was a possibility. The other piece of it, with that beautiful outdoor upper lawn called the Grove, you can do outdoor dining there. So,
I love that.
So that has become very popular. They
Under the
do
stars.
Yes. So the lower ceremony or lawn for ceremony, and then we invite them into our indoor pavilion, which is the overlooked pavilion, for cocktail hour. And then we have beautiful French doors that we open up and invite guests out to dinner.
So the picture's so good.
Thank you.
know. It's set.
Well, where can I sign you up?
Yes, and
exactly.
that is the perfect segue, because we were chatting about this earlier, and it's about trusting the professionals. You are a professional overall, and then you know the space really well, and it's great for couples and required here to at least have a day of coordinator.
Yes.
But it's so important to have those professionals help you through the process and help you envision the space.
I always call them my A team, right? So we have a
I do too.
because we have a preferred list. We don't require our couples to use those vendors. However, we do know how those vendors do know how to load in, how to use the space the best. But when you walk into the room and you see your vendors on site, you're like, today's a good day. And I share that with my couples. Like, when you're looking at that vendor list, those people are working to make your day and your dream come true. So that vendor selection is so important.
I didn't tell you, Mary, but I ran a golf club before my world.
Really?
Yes. I know. I was going to surprise you with that.
Surprise and delight.
I know. Of course, I have a soft spot for golf clubs. So tell me what's the perk of getting married at a golf club?
I think for us, I just think we're set up so beautifully for it, with the parking area that we have outside, but also all this beautiful greenery. Right?
It's always green.
It's always green.
It's called fertilizer.
It is. It goes on for miles, right? And when you get married on the lower lawn, there's this beautiful procession in, and behind you is all of this greenery and just beautiful lawn. And to me, to your point, in Arizona especially, you're not going to find that in many places.
No. I also think hospitality
100%
for golf clubs.
100%.
They are not allowed to say no. I want to kind of look at the camera. They're not allowed to say no to anybody. That is the golf club theory. So, can I help you with that? Carry your bag? Yes, of course. You're not allowed to say no.
100%.
When you're at the club, it's like a day on the playground in a sense for a kiddo.
Well, people are coming here, just from the golf side. They're coming here for vacations. Some people come here part-time of the year. So hospitality is at the core of everything we do.
Yes.
From the restaurant to our pro shop to out on the golf course, but then when we're hosting our guests for a wedding as well.
Everybody asks, what do you miss about the club or being at the club? And I'm like, my members, and my couples, but it's just everybody's happy when they come to the club.
They are.
The only time when they're crabby is
They're
if they
out to-
play
they're
a
coming to
really
play.
bad round of
There you
golf.
go. I was going to say, they're always happy to be here.
And then they ditch the bar and they just go home. They don't want to
And
talk to
so-
anybody.
yeah.
Exactly. There are
It
those
starts
days
with
too.
a, hi guys, and then
Yeah.
it's like, he's
Yeah,
going home.
he had a bad round.
No after round for him.
I'm curious, do you see a pretty even mix of locals and destination weddings, or is there, what do you see here in your venue?
So local, what I also see is maybe the couple lives out of the area, but they grew up here and they want to come back because it has that just, fond memory for them. And so for us, as we get some of those couples that live far away, that's why that planner becomes so important.
Right.
Yes, yeah. Let's definitely dive more into that. So, of course, we preach on the podcast and in every world of Iron Diamond, we love wedding planners. So tell us why you require a wedding planner here at Ocotillo.
Well, we require it because we want somebody who's going to be designated to take care of those special details for you. Here we have an event coordinator. Her name is Michaela, and she is fabulous. But she takes care of all of the details that we go into contract with you. Your food, your beverage, how are you going to set the room? What does that timeline look like? What's your floor plan look like? She works in conjunction with the planner. So those two people working together make sure that every single detail is checked off that list.
And they're pros.
100%.
They've done this hundreds of times. Again, as a bridegroom, you have not to trust the process.
Well, and I think sometimes people say, "Oh, I have an aunt who's really good at that," and
Auntie
or I have a
Patty.
friend.
I call them Auntie Patty.
Yeah, and I said, and I'll always say, "Well, Auntie Peg will see."
Peg.
Yeah.
I got it. My mom's Peggy, so.
Uncle John just showed up, and she hasn't seen him in 10 years, and then everything you've asked her to do is kind of going to go out the window because she's just so excited to see family,
Yes.
as she should be.
And she's going to
right?
serve cake 2 times longer.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So I just
It's a
say,
real thing.
let them be a guest because they're here to celebrate you.
And they'll bring a little stress. They do. You don't think they will, but they will.
Because they might have an idea of, I really think
And
that
then
this
you-
would look better over here.
And then you get,
No, stick to the
and then
plan.
it's like, it could be sensitive with you don't want to offend them, but
Yeah.
It's
and the
a very
nice
true,
way,
Chelsea.
and the
It's
nice
very
way to
true.
say no if somebody does offer. I just want you to be a guest at my wedding.
it's perfect. Positive spin.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Well, I actually want to lead into you just having a wedding for your daughter.
yes.
How was that to be a guest? Because I know that's a challenge for us wedding professionals to actually attend weddings and turn it off.
Well, I will tell you, one of the things I was involved with was looking at contracts for her, making sure what was
That's so
included.
important.
And then I really just kind of coached them both to interview their vendors, like your photographer, your DJ. Your photographer will be around you all day long, so you need to have a really great connection with them.
Definitely.
And then your DJ is really going to be kind of your master of ceremonies throughout the night. So you want to make sure, look at their their Instagram, look at their websites, meet them, whether you have to do a video chat, but interview your vendors. And they did that. And honestly, I can say their photographer, I'm still friends with on Instagram because I loved her work so
Those
much.
photographers do
They
that,
do.
don't
They just kind of creep in and get
And they're they're with you from the moment
Yes.
you wake up till, you know, the last dance. And so
Yeah.
Maybe the next day, you never
and
know.
yeah, invite them back for drinks, you know, but you spend a lot of time with them, so you want to feel comfortable. I think I was going to say this about the preferred vendors. Another thing that is so important is chemistry amongst the vendors,
Yes.
and that they work well together. And when people are happy and fulfilled, they bring their best work. And so you're choosing people that know each other, that work together all the time. They've got each other's backs. So I feel like it just leads to like a more successful event.
Well, I love it when I walk into into our overlooked pavilion and you see the vendors interacting like, oh my gosh, you're working this day. I'm so excited to see you here, to that point. Right?
For sure.
They're all going to be, and not that they wouldn't if they didn't know the individual, but there's just that chemistry that it's going to be a really good day. And that's what I try to really talk to our couples about in choosing their venue and their vendors for that venue.
So another thing that I feel gets a little confusing going back with like the wedding planner and the event coordinator at the venue is like getting the bride down the aisle.
Yes. So that's another big piece of the planner. We want your planner to be here the night before for your rehearsal, and we want that person getting you down the aisle.
It's not common to have your venue coordinator
No.
to get you down the aisle.
No, you want. I mean, a good story.
And they forget about that.
They do, and then
They're managing all the other details.
I can't tell you how many times I fluff dresses to get a bride down the aisle.
I have too. I've done my fair share. But that our coordinator is now looking at timeline for cocktail hour and when will we start doing tray pass hors d'oeuvres. That's where I need her to be, and that's where she needs to be. And then the planner is taking care of those last minute details. We had a planner one time, the bride was starting to walk down the aisle, she forgot her veil. So the planner is there key to be like, wait a minute, let's do a check. Do you have your bouquet? Do you have your veil on? Do you need some more like lip gloss? Whatever that might be. So that's why she's so important. She's there to make you look your best before you make your grand entrance.
It's seriously a thing. It is a thing. I'm saying this out loud to any listeners that own a venue and they do it all the time and do that coordinator part of the ceremony. Switch it up. You're just gonna save money actually on labor and time worrying about that. That's when an officiant comes in and that wedding planner.
Exactly.
So just gotta keep it more simple as a venue. Be the venue.
Exactly. And that's what we say. Like, we do what we do really, really well. And that's food, beverage, and making sure that your venue is set and ready for your guest.
And couples, you want your venue coordinator to be the venue focus.
Yes.
And not have their hands in all these things.
Exactly.
That's a lot. It's a lot of pressure.
Well, food and beverage is it's such a big part of it. And to do it well and execute it well, that's all the focus right there.
Exactly.
What are you seeing in terms of trends that your couples are requesting for food service?
And I'm going to jump in and point out something. So a lot of golf clubs do food and beverage.
Yes.
So compared to other venues. So that is a perk when you go to a golf club.
I love that. It's like, that's a big piece of the puzzle.
One-stop shop.
Yes.
Well, we have a full culinary team here with an executive chef, Scratch Kitchen. So he is amazing. So we really do take a lot of pride in our food and beverage here at Ocotillo. But to answer your question, I think one of the things I love that I've been seeing is couples really personalizing their days.
Yes. You shared some really fun things before. I share them. They're really good.
Yeah. So I had a couple that got married in November, and they had come for their tasting. And so I said to them, like, we had somebody going around with sampling of cake, and I said, did you try the cake? And they're like, actually, we don't eat cake. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, bring in a gelato cart. We allow that. We're going to allow you to bring in any dessert that you want to, because again, at the end of the day, it's your day. And so they brought in a gelato cart. It was so cute, and it was so lovely, cute. And the guests loved it. So, and then the welcome cocktail when somebody arrives, whether it's a signature cocktail or just a glass of champagne. What a beautiful way to welcome your guests to your special day. And that, to me, a glass of champagne kicks off the celebration.
Yes, they loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I think that cocktail social hour, it is key to make sure you are providing a complimentary beverage and snack.
Yes.
I'm not saying meaning snack, but food, because then the alcohol goes faster. You need to start the sponge early on if you want them to dance all night.
Absolutely.
I do think cocktail hour is one of the trickiest parts of the wedding, and what we were talking about earlier, where things stall. I feel like it's usually at cocktail hour, and it goes back to your timeline, and because normally people are taking pictures, and then it drags on for too long.
Or they
then
bar hop.
Yeah, it's not enough food because people they're waiting. I think it's a challenging time of the wedding.
I would love to have your opinion on that cocktail hour with bar hopping, because it's a crucial time to keep that food out the door and the energy up.
So what we like to try to do, again, depending on the guest count, we might do a stationary, we have a satellite bar that we put out as a standard kind of operating.
And when satellite bars are like portable bars where you put them.
Thank you. Yes. So we locate that outside for the cocktail hour. And depending on the guest count, we might do a second station for beer and wine to make sure that people are not standing in line too long, because that is one of the things that
bottleneck.
Just such a good
crabby.
attention to detail.
They do.
They
There
do.
are 10 people in front of me.
So that's why that welcome cocktail is crucial. They have a little
definitely how I am.
something. They're done with their
The butler passing of wine and champagne does help the bottleneck.
Yes.
So that's what we try to do. We do have a restaurant here, so sometimes people will try to go in there. We're like, no, you have a hosted bar. Come back here. You can come right back in here and have this. So we really have kind of like pivoted on that. Like, what's the best practice for us to take care of our guests and make sure that every guest here is feeling special?
What's your golden rule for, though, like between end of ceremony to serving food that you feel like keeps the energy moving at the club? You know what I mean by that? Like, if you're not going to do a big heavy bar or food, your guests are going to get hangry if you're not going to feed them.
Well, we do, so all of our food, our menu packages include 2-tray passed hors d'oeuvres. So
lovely.
during cocktail hour, they're going to get tray passed hors d'oeuvres. You can also add a charcuterie station if that's something that you love, or you can add a third passed hors d'oeuvre. So that keeps the hangries away right there. The little nibbles. Yes.
This one over here can get pretty hangry.
No, I know. I just feel like I didn't have that issue as a bride where, like, they're like, oh, I didn't get time to eat. No, I ate. I like made time for that. Like, it's important to me. I don't know. I'm looking for the food.
I was too happy I didn't eat or drink. I was hugging everybody.
With our couples, we'll actually take like a little platter and take some of those hors d'oeuvres and kind of put them away in a hot box for them, because sometimes they're so busy doing pictures that they can't.
That's a good one. You're a good one.
So we're like, we want you to have some of those really fun bites that you ordered for your guests. So
and sometimes you'll bring it out with their meal, so then they just see
that's what we do.
You serve.
Because they've been busy either taking pictures if they chose not to do them prior to ceremony. So they kind of miss all of that. Or once they get done with pictures, they're so busy talking to family, they just want a drink, which we try to make sure that they get a drink in hand as soon as they're ready and available for that. And then, like I said, we pull some of those aside so they don't miss anything.
I love what you just said, pre-ceremony, is getting something to eat like right before you walk down the aisle when you're hiding. Because a lot of times the couple, they don't eat during photos, and then you don't want them to pass out. So think of food that is unspillable.
Yes.
No ketchup, no mustard, nothing that drips.
We've been in your lovely bridal suite today. It's like just perfect to have a little bite and a glass of champagne
and be like, let's go.
And we do. You can order that in. So from our restaurant, you can have that ordered in.
Golf clubs are so great.
Right? I know. Gosh.
Because it's always open.
Yes. So to your point, yes. And I always say that. Make sure you have something to eat. Make sure you have something to drink. Because it's going to be a long day and you don't realize how long the day is until you're in it, right? And so again, pivoting back to that planner, that's where your planner is going to be. Okay, so let's make sure you have some water, make sure you have a little something to eat.
That's what I love about the planner is it's not them keeping track of like all the details you know about. It's the details you don't think about, like that water. Have you had a bite? Like, do you know what? It's just those things that only a pro knows.
Only a pro would know. All right, final question. And it's a sweeter question. Being a past mother of the bride, what would be your best advice to another mother of the bride?
Enjoy the moment. It goes by so fast. For us, it was really important. I knew where I needed to guide, but I also needed to really be mindful that it's their day. So I think from a mother of the bride's perspective, ask where where can I help you? And then help them guide, help guide them. But also let it be their day. I think that's the most important piece. To watch your children get married and make those decisions and then see all those beautiful details that they add to their day that is so special to the two of them. It made me really proud to be the mother of bride because I was like, you thought of every single detail.
Oh, well, I'm sure she learned from the best.
So it was really sweet to see that and how much love they put into planning their wedding. So
I love that.
get me all teary-eyed now.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh.
I know, but I know our listeners are moms, to think and help guide their son and daughter planning their perfect day. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having us today.
Yes, thank you for your
ladies.
time. It was so fun.
And actually hosting us for the podcast for all our upcoming interviews for Arizona Bride and our spring/summer 2025 issue release party.
Yes.
Tonight, can't wait.
Yes, can't
So
wait.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time on Wedding Day Podcast. See you. Bye.